Good evening, race fans, and welcome to ETV Live, powered by the HD Radio Network for round number 24 of 36 in the RSR Asphalt Assault Series, presented by Derek's Beer Designs and Inside Sim Racing. Tim Terry and Harrison Weidlitz here to call all the action for you. Steve Bonesteel's around here, as well as our roving reporter for ETV Live. And Harry, this is going to be an exciting race. 27 cars right now on the racetrack, qualifying for the Kentucky race, round number 24, 110 laps. Should be an interesting race around here, I think.
Absolutely. After a few weeks on the road, literally with the road course action going on at RSR, we return back to oval racing. And Kentucky Speedway, while it is considered, I guess, a cookie-cutter track, is a very interesting track because the banking's not all that high. It's a rough surface. The cars are very edgy. And with these momentum-based cars being very, very precise over these bumps and this track with a lot of character can pay off dividends. So the cream should rise to the top.
And when you look at last week's results, the series traveled to Mid-Ohio, and when you look down this list, you're going to see Rhett McBride on top, but it was Guy Snyder subbing in for Rhett McBride, taking the victory over Josh Chaney, Bobby Terrell, Stefan Marinek, John Abbott, your top five, Augusto Gabaldoni, Glenn Campbell, Bo McGuire, Brian Harvey, and Jimmy Jones, your top 10 in that race last week. And then it comes down to looking at points, and when you look at points, it's Marinek on top of the standings, and as he has been all season long, but Bobby Terrell closed a little bit of the gap again last week. It's up to 32 points, or down to 32 points, between your top two. CJ LeVere is third in the standings, Matt Lacrosse, Rhett McBride, your top five, with Brian Harvey, John Abbott, Clinton Monahan, Glenn Campbell, and Douglas Wyatt completing your top 10. Looking down the list, I do not see Clint Monahan here this evening out of the top 10, and he may be the only one of the top 10 that's not here this evening as we get ready to go racing. So a little bit of a shakeup going to be in the top 10, but Harry, we've seen the point battle earlier in the season with your top two, over 50 points between your top two, and it just seems like Bobby Terrell continues to really chip into this gap here that Marinek has. It's 32 points. He's got just over a dozen races to go. How safe can you be with 32 points on top of the point lead?
You know, when you're Stefan Marinek, sometimes you fall into this false comfort zone, and you don't want to get too comfortable because you want to do exactly what got you that big lead in the first place. So while 32 points is a very commanding lead, and Stefan Marinek currently showing P1 as the qualifying session is going on right now, so you know he's got the speed, but he can't get too safe, he can't get too hesitant or cautious. 32 points in 12 races can easily be made up in a bad race or two, so you definitely have to be on your game, and Bobby Terrell doesn't have anything to lose, and he will be gunning hard for that number one spot.
And when you look at this Kentucky Speedway, built in 1998 or broke ground in 98, opened in 2000, it's one of those expansion racetracks that have eventually got a Cup Series date that maybe not in the best market for racing back in the 90s, but it's now here. Speedway Motorsports built the racetrack and owns the racetrack as of this year. Your turns are banked at 14 degrees, your tri-oval is 8 to 10 degrees, and your straightaway is banked at 4 degrees on the back. Calamity Corners, turn number 1, a lot of speed carried into the corner, and it's difficult to maintain a good line over the ripples of the racetrack. Turn 4 flattens out severely off the corner, and it seems like there's a little too much steering input and the car will snap loose. But as we look down on those notes, Harry, that we have on this racetrack, I know you drove the setup a little bit earlier on, and you told me possibly a little bit tight around this racetrack.
Yeah, and I actually have experience running an RSR in the truck league at this facility. And while the trucks are edgy all around for the most part, the nationwide cars bring a set of challenges of their own, which is the car feels heavier, and overall it does seem pretty easy to overdrive the right front tire, and you do that and you will get extremely tight around this track, which will not be good for carrying momentum. And on the opposite end of that, you can also burn up these rear tires, and when you burn up the rear tires, which is very easy to do at a track like this, it lightens up the rear ends of the car, and you are slipping and sliding, and that does not help either. So it's a fine line to walk around here. Turn 2 can be very, very loose, And turn 4, you sweep out very wide, and it's a smoother exit than turn 2. But when you're sweeping up like that, it becomes very easy to sweep, to sweep out too wide, and then you're steering too much to keep off the wall, and that brings another set of challenges itself. So these drivers definitely have to be careful navigating around this track.
And when it comes to comers and goers in this series, the professor has picked out a few of those comers and goers in the past 4 races. J. Randall Watkins has 3 straight top 15 finishes. Jimmy North has rebounded well over the past month with 4 straight top 20s. And John Abbott has a 3rd and 5th place finish the last 2 weeks. Keep in mind, both of those were on road courses, but he was the quick driver in the practice session, so watch that number 10 of John Abbott this evening. When you talk about guys going the wrong way, Doug Roth has 2 straight 16th place finishes, which is well below his season average, and CJ Levere has finished outside the top 25 in his last 3 starts, and it goes to show he was right there with Bobby Terrell in the first third of the season, and now he slipped back to 63 points behind the point leader and 31 points behind Bobby Terrell. So CJ Levere really has to get going here this evening. Doesn't look like qualifying is going to help a whole lot, because it looks like right now he's going to start in position number 8.
Yeah, a lot of these drivers actually did pick up from practice. CJ Levere was not one of them. He lost about half a tenth, and with these drivers also close in time, that is going to mire him back into a little bit close to the mid-pack. Right now he's currently showing 8th out of 22. But CJ Levere is actually a driver who I think is pretty good at this track, and I think we might see him drive up into the top 5 fairly quickly.
I know Steve Bonesteel is here as well. We'll get Steve on here before we go racing this evening. Steve, what are you thinking from Kentucky? I know you saw the last 2 road course races with this series. Who's going to rebound and really get it going on the right track here on the oval?
I don't think it's going to be a rebound, but I think Marinak, he's going to be up front all night long. He's going to find his way out there, and he's going to lead some laps, and I think he's going to bring in the win.
And he will start from position number 2 here this evening, just a few moments away from opening ceremonies. And you look down this list, Harry, who do you see as a possible winner here this evening? We know Marinak is quick. We know Bobby Terrell's quick in this series. Anybody else you're seeing here that might surprise us this evening?
I do think Matt Lacrosse will be aggressive, and he should be a challenger. One thing that I thought was noteworthy was in the practice session, Marinak only took a short run. He only took a handful of laps. Now, he might have come to this evening prepared, but on the opposite end of the coin, Bobby Terrell took a very long run, and he did it with all the cars on the racetrack where you're in that dirty air, and that makes a big difference. It makes a very big difference when you are when you're in the server with 30 cars on the track and everything's tight. It's a lot tighter than when you're out there alone. So I think Bobby Terrell will be just challenging him throughout the race. I think Bobby Terrell is very prepared, and I think he will compete for this win.
And we will see that unfold in just a few moments' time. We'll go down trackside with the Cactus Cuties for the singing of our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof
And now let's go down our starting grid for round number 24 of 36 for the RSR Asphalt Assault Series, presented by Inside Sim Racing and Derek Spear Design. On the pole, it's number 21 of Matt Lacrosse, putting in a time of 31.568. And to the outside, it's your point leader, number 24, Stefan Marinek.
In row number 2, we've got Brian Harvey in the 66 on the inside, and the second man in points, Bobby Terrell in the 7.
Quick driver in practice, it's the 10 of John Abbott. Watch at number 10 from position number 5. Should be quick here this evening. And the number 50 to the outside is Beau McGuire.
And in row number 4, we've got Josh Cheney in the inside and CJ LeVere in the number 4 on the outside.
And your next row sees the 42 at Jimmy Jones, and to the outside, 81, Steve Almindo.
In the next row, we've got Glenn Campbell to the inside, who will be aggressively trying to make his way through the field, and David Lanza to his outside.
We got J. Randall Watkins in position number 13 in the 77. To the outside, it's number 12 of Steve Maddox.
In the middle of the pack, we've got Keith Brooks Jr. starting from the 15th position, and Jimmy North, one of the league admins, on the outside of him.
Two drivers making their way through the field here in the second half of the season. It's going to be Bobby Wetzel in the 19, starting in position number 17, and to the outside, it's going to be the 16 of Marvin Turnmeyer Jr.
And in row number 10, we've got Rhett McBride, whose car won the race last week. He'll be trying to match that, and Nathan Bowers to his outside coming from position number 20.
We got the 666 of Augusto Gabaldoni in position number 21, and to the outside, last driver to take time on the field, 43 at Doug Roth.
And behind Doug Roth will be Doug Fleming from the inside of row number 12, and Barry Hines to his outside.
Douglas Wyatt, Ed Williams Jr., and Frank Coons complete your field, 27 strong. Getting ready to go green. We are on the pace lap as the field is working through corner number 2. Matt Lacrosse is going to look to pick up another victory this season. Looking down here, Lacrosse does have 2 wins. It would be number 3 if he can pick up another one here this evening. Marinek, your point leader, Brian Harvey, Bobby Terrell, and John Abbott, your top 5 when we go green. Watch Beau McGuire in the 50 as well, starting in position number 6. He's ran some strong races this season, but has yet to really close the deal on a top 3 run. We'll see if Beau McGuire has what it takes this evening to close the deal, get a top 5 run, maybe move a little bit closer as well to that top 3. Glad you could be with us here on ETV Live, powered by the HD Radio Network for round number 24 of 36 in the RSR Asphalt Assault Series, presented by Derek Spear Design and Inside Sim Racing. 110 laps to run here. Pace car is going to make that hard left-hand turn down onto pit road. Field in command of Matt Lacrosse, and he is gone. Green flag flies, and we're underway for the first of 110 laps. And look at the start Lacrosse gets on that inside over Marinek.
Absolutely, with those Interstate Battery colors on the 21, way out in front. One driver having problems. I don't believe Barry Hines actually made the start. He was possibly having equipment issues, wasn't able to get it off of pit road, and I believe he's in the garage area right now. But with Matt Lacrosse out front, Stefan Marinek is close behind, and we'll have to see just how much Bobby Terrell challenges the leaders.
At third place, it's side by side with Terrell, as you mentioned, to the inside of Brian Harvey in 66. And behind them, Beau McGuire has a challenge from the 4 of CJ LeVere. The 4 is the driver that seems to be on the move here early as we go down the back straightaway, and we may have a caution on the Speedway for the first time this evening. I see a lot of smoke here on the front straightaway, possibly the 77 car bringing this one out.
Yeah, J. Randall Watkins in the 77 got turned around in the tri-oval. It appears that they were 3 wide. Jimmy North was looking below him, and the 77 might have just got a little bit lost and possibly defending his position or expecting Jimmy North to back out, and he got turned around, but I don't believe he hit anything except for the pit exit cone, and he should be all right.
We might have to get Laura to get an in-car cam on that 77 car, J. Randall Watkins, because you see the 33 of Lanza come up out of corner number 4, and I think the only thing that J. Randall Watkins really sees is that car coming down the racetrack just a little bit when it essentially came from nowhere about a corner before and maybe moved down the racetrack and didn't know the 84 was there, or maybe moved down a little too much, and that's what causes the first caution flag of the evening. 77 going around off the 84 But he might have had a little help from outside. He might have got a little, I don't want to say scared, or maybe a little frightened to see that 33 car come up as quick as it did.
Yeah, when you get stuck in the middle, it can be a scary situation. You don't want to make a mistake, and he probably did start moving down the track, and that's a good catch, Tim. As the 33 came down a little bit and then caught himself, and the 33 went back up the track. I do believe you're exactly right, and Randall reacted to that and started moving down the track, and it's easy to get lost in a 3 wide like that. I shouldn't say lost, but it's easy to get yourself in trouble being a little bit hesitant, and he did not want to cause a wreck right there, and it ended up being a spin. But no harm, no foul, and he'll come away with this without any damage, and we'll try to rebound and get some of those spots back that he lost.
And while we were under caution, we want to thank the boys at Inside Sim Racing for helping us put on this series. They sponsored the Thursday Night Real Sim Racing series. Inside Sim Racing, your first and best choice for all the news and reviews in online motorsports. Join Darren and Sean for the latest and greatest in product reviews, simulation auto racing games for the PC and Xbox crowd, from steering wheels to full-size racing rigs, updates on popular racing games, and a whole lot more. It's the yellow pages of online auto racing. Inside Sim Racing has it all. You can visit them at isrtv.com and see all the great shows, look at all the great reviews, and you never know, you might see them in an iRacing server when you're on racing an official race. I know Darren and Sean do a lot of racing. So working lap number 4 right now under the first caution flag of the evening, and what we saw in that first run here, it looked like a lot of those guys getting single file. We saw the third place battle get a little interesting with Terrell trying to go after Harvey. It looked like the only person within the top 10 really that was pushing was CJ Levere. Levere started back in position number 8. He's now up to 7th, but it seemed like there was a real sense of urgency for that 4 car to get to the front of the field. How much are we going to see that here this evening, do you think, with 110 laps? They got a long way to go here.
They do have a long way to go, but I do believe the drivers who feel that they have a car that can contend, they're going to try to push and get up there as quick as they can, because when you're in mid-pack, you're racing very hard. It's easy to use up your stuff. It's easy to find yourself getting in trouble. So the guys that maybe didn't have the greatest qualifying runs are going to be trying very hard. And I do believe Terrell will be pretty aggressive all race. He's got nothing to lose, and he needs to make up all the points he can. So he wants to lead laps, he wants to win the race, all the races he can, and he will be pushing it. And with that short run, I would say the top 18 cars ended up staying out, but behind them there was a large group that came to pit road.
And lap number 4, I'm not sure what the fuel strategy is here. Never took a whole lot of laps in this car, but you'd have to believe that 4 laps I don't think is really going to make it or break it when it comes to pit strategy here with this race car at Kentucky. But we'll have to see. If you're back there, why not come down and get some new tires and some fuel into your race car. Your top 10 after lap number 5, as it looks like J. Randall Watkins will be going to the rear for that infraction for bringing up the caution flag. Matt Lacrosse, Stefan Marinik, Brian Harvey, Bobby Terrell, and John Abbott, your top 5. 6th or 10th, Beau McGuire, CJ Levere, Josh Cheney, Jimmy Jones, and Glenn Campbell, your top 10. And Campbell's one of those drivers, Harry, that's really been flirting around the top 10 in the standings. If he has a good night, he can stand to gain a whole lot on 5th place right now. Looking at the points, it's about 50 points or so between 5th and 9th place Glenn Campbell. So standing to gain a lot here if he can get up on the wheel in these next couple of races and start gaining some points.
And Glenn Campbell is certainly a driver fully capable of that. When the Truck Series ran here at Kentucky Speedway, he was able to get a nice top 10 run in a race consisting of over 30 trucks. And I do believe he even had an incident where he got spun around in that race, if I'm not mistaken. So Glenn Campbell is a driver who will get up on the wheel. He will stick his nose in places that may or may not work, and it should really be exciting to watch him.
And he will restart this one from position number 11 by the looks of it, as he will, or check that 10th, as he'll be on the outside when he gets the green flag next time by. Lights are out atop the first racing Ford Mustang pace car. 105 laps to contest here at the Kentucky Speedway. And Matt Lacrosse back out in front. has led all laps since we dropped the green flag. We'll see if Marinek pushes a little bit here, or if he's content to ride in position number 2. We'll see how many green flag laps we can get here, see if these guys can log some laps here. 110 to run here this evening at the Kentucky Speedway as a part of the RSR Asphalt Assault Series presented by Inside Sim Racing and Derek Spear Designs, as Matt Lacrosse leads us down into corner number 3, and we are getting ready to see the green silk once again for our first restart of this event. Lacrosse 4th place in the standings, looking to gain a little bit here this evening on CJ Lever. Lever will restart in position at number 7. The first racing Ford Mustang pace car set to make the leap to pit road this time by, as he will turn left here, and Matt Lacrosse will put the hammer down, and he is getting ready to set sail again. A green flag flies, and we are back underway. A little bit of a closer start that time. Marinek's still going to have a hole in line if he wants it here, but it looks like Matt Lacrosse went a little bit later than he did on that first restart.
Yeah, something a lot of these drivers will do is they don't want to be predictable. So when guys are out there leading the race, you'll often see them go pretty early one restart, pretty late the next. They never want to be caught off guard, so they want to change it up and try to get all the advantage that they can on that start of the race. Because if you get some room, if you're able to break the draft with these nationwide cars, which do draft pretty well because they're slightly underpowered, it can be a huge advantage.
84 car had a huge four-wheel drift in that last run. He goes from 13th to 21st and now under fire at position at number 21. So keep a half eye on Jimmy North as he continues to slide through the back of the field. Lacrosse, Marinek, your top 2. They've got single file and begin to break away from what is now about a 5-car battle for 3rd as Brian Harvey holds onto it, but he's got Terrell, Abbott, Laver, and Beau McGuire to his tail, and now Terrell under fire from John Abbott. Abbott, the fastest driver in the practice session earlier this evening, is going to try to move to 4th here, and he's going to bring the 4-car, CJ Lever, along with him. Bobby Terrell trying to slam the door, cannot get down there, opens the door for the 4 of CJ Lever, and now it's side by side for 5th as they drag race down the back straightaway.
Absolutely. CJ Lever trying to get all the Pegasus power out of that Mobil 1 Chevrolet to get by Bobby Terrell, and Bobby is in a rough spot right here, because if he's not able to get down, he's got a lot of cars that are pretty much underneath a blanket that are going to try to take advantage of this. It's very easy to get trained at a track like this when you have a lot of guys running close times. And so CJ right now is working all the way towards the apron in that 4-car and trying to get every advantage he can, but Bobby's doing a very good job on his outside, and he might be able to clear him right here entering turn 3.
And there's the 50 of Beau McGuire now working to the outside, the 42 and the 11 also there as well. The 11 to the outside of the 42 and looks to the inside of the 50. 3 wide at a corner number 4 as they go through the tri-oval. And it's going to be the outside line of Beau McGuire trying to hold off Cheney. Looks like he's going to do so. The 42 still underneath as Jimmy Jones going to try to take away the spot. This is the battle for 7th, 8th, and 9th, and add Glenn Campbell in there as well as he is trying to move up from position number 10 to the outside now with Jimmy Jones as they go side by side. Down into corner number 3, the outside line with the Worth number 44 trying to take it away from the 42 on the inside. Big bobble for him, and Bobby Wetzel going to close in, and it's going to be a 4-car train here, almost 3 wide as the 81 of Almindo thought about going to the outside of the 42.
Absolutely, and what you saw out of the 42 right there is exactly what happened to Jimmy North early on in this restart. Now, you're seeing a lot of these guys go all the way to the apron, and probably just trying to get the car to turn a little bit better on fresher tires than it is. But the problem is when you get too low, the apron is a little bit flatter here at Kentucky Speedway, and you have a higher tendency to get loose. And if you get low enough that you just barely grab the flat, that yellow line that you see on the bottom of the track, that upsets the car greatly, and that's what got the 42 completely out of shape as he's about to get passed by the number 19 here. Bobby Wetzel is looking underneath him.
And that is for position number 10 as he goes underneath the 42. It's side by side down the back straightaway. Close in Lanza, Brett McBride, and Steve Almindo as well. Almindo lost a couple of positions on that exchange, but he is still there looking to pick up a spot if he can. Now Lanza underneath the number 42 of Jimmy Jones. As they come up at a corner number 4, they will come across the stripe this time by, be dead even behind the 19. It looks like Lanza may have the spot as he now looks underneath Bobby Wetzel. Wetzel going to give him the line, maybe going into the corner. gave him the line, could not make it work, and he will have to slide in behind. The 42 car almost has to check up with the 33, and now the 15 works underneath. The 81 going to follow him through as well. Close call between Lanza and Jones.
Yeah, and the 42 of Jones right now is not enjoying the position he's in right now, as he looks, well, he backs out of a 3 wide with Lanza. Lanza in that basically an orange sunset metallic Tax Slayer car right there, trying to make full use of his 4 tires, trying to get some spots out of this. Very tight battle up here around 11th, 12th position. But the 42 is actually going backwards right now. Not happy with, as he brushes the wall a little bit exiting turn number 2.
The 12 car closing in. Stephen Maddox on the 60 to Turnmeyer, back around position number 15. Just in front of them, I see the 44 is once again side by side with the 11 of Josh Cheney. That's the closest battle, I believe, to the front of the field as they go side by side for position number 8. Give it to Glenn Campbell, but here comes Cheney, crossover down the back straightaway, and the 44 gets the fence. He's into the fence again, and he is going to lose a ton of time. Only going to lose the 1 position he gained on that exchange. But now here comes the 19 of Bobby Wetzel closing in on the 44 Glenn Campbell. He's got to get going and make sure everything's tight with that race car to not lose any more positions.
Yeah, what happened to Glenn Campbell there in the 44 is a classic case of push loose. He was trying to beat the car below him off of the corner, and he had a lot of wheel input. And as he got very close to that wall, the track flattens out, he lost the rear end, and he was able to keep it off of the car below him and avoid an accident. But with that much wheel input, you come off of there, he got loose, got the wall. I don't think he got, I don't think his car is badly damaged by any means.
Big wreck at a corner number 4. The 42 is up and over, and once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times. Yeah, you can keep counting through the grass, about 7 or 8 rolls for the 42 with Jimmy Jones. Caution flag is out. It may have begun with around the 15 of Rhett McBride, and that's exactly where it begins. 15 way up the racetrack, 19, and he made contact. Dave Lanza sends the 15 for a ride, and then it's on like Donkey Kong. There's about 8 or 9 cars involved in this one, and the 84 sends the 42 for a hell of a ride through the infield. So the caution flag will fly, and a classic case of guys going for the same piece of real estate and everybody just trying to find a place to dodge the wreck. Dave Lanza could not dodge the wreck. He ends up getting into the other car, and then it's on from there.
Yeah, what we saw from the 15 of Rhett McBride right there is just he was trying to make a pass on the flatter portion of the racetrack, all the way in the bottom groove. Just lost the nose and slid up, and as he went around, other cars piled in. We had just mentioned the 42 of Jimmy Jones was not having the race of his life. Probably was getting trained, was in a couple of very tight spots, and right there he was in a very bad spot as he went end over end. The wreck broke out in front of him, and as he tried to slow down to avoid the wreck, I believe he locked the tires. It made him push up into the outside wall, and as he came back down, he was ran over by Jimmy North, as you had just mentioned, and his race is effectively over.
Four tires for Matt Lacrosse, and he is down and away. The 10, John Abbott, will come off position number 2. Close for third. Marinick may have got Terrell, but it was dead even at the line, and CJ Levere will come off in position number 5. So pretty much status quo here as they come off pit road.
Lacrosse, with a 13-second pit stop, is able to retain the lead. Right now, Barry Hines, as you see, is in front of him, but he was the one who didn't get it off of the grid on the start of the race. He was possibly some wheel trouble. I didn't catch what happened to him, but he is 9 laps down and will be taking a wave around when he can to be 8 laps down. He's actually the only lapped car in the race. So if we have a lot of cautions, he could benefit from that, but 8 laps will be hard to make up. And the order in the top 5, as you said, remains roughly the same.
So he will get the wave around. He is running in position number 27 right now. 26 drivers in front of him on the lead lap, though that might change because Jimmy Jones is not with us. He's in the garage area. Rhett McBride's on pit road, and I believe there might be one other still chilling on pit road as well. So it looks like we are going to have at least 2 drivers that are 1 or more laps down here as the pace car will come by and bypass Jimmy Jones and pass, there was one more car down there, as I mentioned, Rhett McBride on pit road. The 15 car still not moving.
Yeah, a lot of damage being fixed on pit road right now. Among them, Glenn Campbell has come to pit road. I don't believe his damage is too extensive. I did not catch whether he was involved. I think he was in front of the wreck that brought out the caution, but we did see him scrape the wall when he got loose at turn number 2. We see the STP colors of 43 on Doug Roth on pit road, as well as Wyatt and Marvin Turnmeyer in the 16 is also back on pit road. Likely all, topping off with gas. It might be, there's a chance it might be a 1-stop race from here, although I'm not 100% on that. Likely still a 2-stop race. We'll have to see how it works out.
Because we're going to have 20 laps in the books here when they come across the stripe, so we'll have 90 laps remaining in this event, so they'll have to go 45 laps or so on a tank in order to make it a 1-stop race. So we'll have to see how close they are. Matt Lacrosse comes off pit road first. John Abbott, Bobby Terrell, Stefan Marinek, and CJ Lavere, your top 5. Bo McGuire is going to come off in 6th. Josh Cheney in 7th. Brian Harvey in position number 8. Bobby Wetzel going to move himself into the top 10 through all this, and Steve Almindo as well. Going to move the 81 into position number 10, as we should see, I believe, the pace car lights off this time by, and we will see the 57 of Barry Hines bypass the pace car, and everybody will double up behind them as we will go green next time by. So we'll go green with 89 laps remaining in round number 24 of 36 of the RSR Asphalt Assault Series, presented by Inside Sim Racing and Derek Spear Design. Sponsoring in part with the Inside Sim Racing gang on the RSR Asphalt Assault Series on Thursday, Derek Spear Designs manufactures top-shelf sim racing components such as pedals, shifters, button boxes, and much more. Reasonably priced, this is the kind of gear a championship sim racing driver needs, bulletproof and boot stomping strong. See his gear at DerekSpearDesigns.com. And great customer service as well, Derek, a fantastic gentleman. So if you're looking for a sim racing product, a button box or shifter or whatever the case may be sure to check out DerekSpearDesigns.com, and proud sponsor of the Thursday night Inside Sim Racing Asphalt Assault Series for RSR. Matt Lacrosse getting ready to see the green flag as we will ride on board with John Abbott for the restart. You'll see him on the outside, one of the quickest drivers in practice. Little bit of a slowdown in qualifying as he runs in 5th in the qualifying charts, and now he is in 2nd. We'll see if John Abbott has anything here for race speed and can back up what he did in practice from position number 2 in this restart. The first racing Ford Mustang pace car into the infield, and Matt Lacrosse getting ready to show the green flag once again. There he goes. Green flag flies, and watch the 7 of Bobby Terrell. Terrell underneath John Abbott. Abbott caught sleeping a little bit on the outside line. Going to be 7 and 10 going down to corner number 1 for position number 2.
So when you start and John Abbott will likely be able to clear the 7 if he got a little bit high here. They're 3 wide out of turn number 2 between the 24, the 7, and the 10 as they head to turn number 3. Let's see if they'll be able to squeeze. Oh, there's contact. The 10 car is around into the wall. John Abbott.
And Marinek around as well in front of the field. Is anybody going to collect the 24? Yes, Dave Lanza going to get into the number 24. A little bit of contact for that 33 as the caution flag will fly once again. And hard racing on a restart, Harry, and we're going to send at least 2 cars to the rear on this one after the 10 and 24 make a little bit of contact. But if you're the 10 and 24, you have to believe, or if you're at least a 10, you have to believe you're 3 wide. I know it's early in the race and everything else. Do you think about maybe in hindsight giving the 24 a little bit of room?
Certainly the 24 is gonna take a good look at this wreck, see what he could have done differently, and the 10 as well, I would imagine. The 7 car was given a lot of room. The 24 chose a line that a lot of people do take here in Kentucky when they're 3 wide in the middle, and usually the outside runs a little bit higher. But it's a tight space where, when you're 3 wide on a track like this, if there's a little bit of miscommunication it's you could have a problem. The 24 might have had a little bit of contact as he spun around from the 50 that may have damaged his left rear wheel or axle. So it'll be interesting to see if he's yawed out whatsoever. He might be a little bit looser, a little bit tighter, depending on that hit. But most of the cosmetic damage did come from the 33, as you mentioned, getting into him as the 24 slid to a stop. But the 10 car, I imagine, is very damaged right now.
Yeah, most of your drivers within the top 10 stay out on the racetrack. In fact, most of your top 15 or so stay out on the racetrack. See Marvin Turnmeyer, Augusto Gabaldoni, Ed Williams down on pit road, and then those guys that are sporting a little bit of damage on their race cars. Stefan Marinak is going to come down onto pit road as well and get damage repaired to the number 24. You mentioned he's dog tracking a little bit, so we'll see how long it takes for your point leader to come off pit road. And we mentioned earlier as well that this series does have a free pass award, so it might not be a bad idea for Marinak, seeing that there's no drivers right now, one lap down. If he can come in, maybe get a lap and a half of damage repaired and come back out on the racetrack, he's going to be the only driver that's one lap down. You get a quick caution, you're back on the lead lap.
Yeah, the problem with Marinak, I'm glad I was able to catch the 50 car getting into him right there, because it did give him more rear end damage than I expected. And a lot of times you will see that when someone hits you in the left rear, it may not look like a big hit. In fact, the first time I watched the replay of this crash, I didn't catch it. But it gives you an awful lot of damage, and anytime anything is just a little bit out of alignment back there, it completely changes the handling of the car. And there's a lot of points implications there, because you had the points leader in the middle of that 3 wide. The guy challenging him in second was at the bottom. And Bobby he was doing a good job. He was giving all the room he could. Half of his car was in that flatter groove, which many people consider to be the apron, even though it doesn't really look like it. But the primary groove is a little bit higher than that, so the 7 was giving as much room as he could. So Marinak's going to have a hard time fighting back. He's probably going to need a caution or two to be able to fix all the damage, which certainly is a couple of minutes at least to get that rear end fixed. Cosmetically, he's not too bad. He will be a little slower. The main thing will be to get that rear end fixed.
And it looks like he'll be racing John Abbott for the free pass, as John Abbott still sits on pit road. And there's another driver that's really turned it on the second half of the season when it comes to this Asphalt Assault Series. Looking down at the points situation right now, John Abbott doesn't have any wins, but he has 6 top 5 finishes and 10 top 10s in 21 starts. But you look at that could easily be 10 top 5 finishes with the way he's been driving that race car. It's just a matter of closing the deal on some of these races. And you can look at this one as well as possibly a lost top 5, because he was running so quick, and he ends up right now sitting in the pit area and not moving, still getting damage repaired to that number 10, the 24 as well. And Marinak is still on pit road. Pace car is working down the back straightaway, so they have about 20 more seconds or so, I'm sure, to get that damage repaired and possibly head back out in the racetrack to stay 1 lap down. You don't want to fall 2 laps down here, because not only would you be racing somebody else for the lucky dog and be at the mercy of a guy that falls a lap down, you'd really need to get up on the wheel and have a little bit of luck. So I would say we'd see the 10 and the 24 moving here in these next few seconds.
Yeah, I do believe that the amount of damage that they are required to fix right now probably keep them on just 1 lap down. But to my surprise, when I saw that wreck, as John Abbott leaves pit road in the 10 car, I expected him to have more damage than Marinak. But when someone gets into your axle like that, it completely throws the rear end haywire, and Marinak's going to have a real struggle for the rest of this race. Now, the 10 of John Abbott is a little bit yawed out, but he hit the wall completely broadsided on the left side, and it looked very bad for the car when I saw that. But his car was actually not yawed out as bad, and it was yawed out to the left, kind of like how you saw Sam Hornish a number of years back as Penske figured that stuff out at Charlotte. So Abbott's car is actually in a lot better shape than Marinak, and they actually gave John Abbott an end-of-longest line penalty, which I assume might be for the caution.
And it looks like Dave Lanza is still on pit road, so he'll be probably 2 laps down. So your battle for the free pass will be between the 10 and the 24, as they run 21st and 22nd right now. So your new top 10, Matt Lacrosse will lead us to green with Bobby Terrell to the outside, CJ Laver, Josh Cheney, and Bo Maguire, your top 5. Bobby Wetzel will run in 6th, Brian Harvey, Steve Almindo, Stephen Maddox, and Nathan Bowers, your top 10. As we get ready to go green, we will complete the 26th lap of this race, this time by 110 laps to run in this race in Kentucky, which means that we will have just 84 laps to go when we go back to green flag racing. The first racing Ford Mustang pace car getting ready to head down to pit road, and Matt Lacrosse is going to lead this field to green. He is already gone. Green flag flies. Bobby Terrell on the outside may have spun the tires a little bit. Going to open the door for CJ Laver, and does the 11 go to the inside of the 7? Yes, 11 looks to the inside. Side of the 7, side by side.
Yeah, Bobby Terrell there caught on the outside. It is difficult to restart these races in second place. Your visibility is not as good as it would be in third or fourth, and it's very difficult to make it work. CJ Laver had a great restart in that Mobil 1-4 car, and Bobby right now will fade into fourth, probably thinking big picture. As we have a caution out, the 85 I'm told is around.
Nathan Bowers around on the front straightaway, and that will bring out the caution flag. And to back this replay, I have to figure out what happened. It looks like the 85 swings wide a little bit and does not see the 77 of J. Randall Watkins underneath. And it's just like one of the incidents we saw earlier where there was another car on the inside. Car goes to the inside, doesn't know he's there, and same deal. The only difference is that Ed Williams Jr. is going to T-bone the 85, which probably isn't going to help the 65 separate this evening.
Yeah, and that's actually 3 cautions in a row, I believe, that are 3 wide incidents. But what happened here was the 85 likely expected the 77 to run a lot lower. A lot of times in the trioval, the inside car will be pretty close to that yellow line. Jay Randall was not going there at the time, and the 85 came across his nose, and that's going to result in extensive damage. The 77 involved in both of those, if I recall, on the front stretch, but varying factors in both. In the first one, he was the car in the middle, and in this one, he's the car in the bottom.
So we'll see if anybody here decides to come down onto pit road. Matt Lacrosse, CJ Laver, Josh Cheney, Bobby Terrell, Bo Maguire, still your top 5. Little bit of a different outside the back half of the top 10 now. Brian Harvey, Bobby Wetzel, Steve Almindo, Steve Maddox, and now Keith Brooks Jr. has moved his way up into the top 10. So we'll see if these guys do decide to come down pit road with 81 laps remaining when they come by the stripe. And it looks like CJ Laver might be headed pit side, or it might be a fake as he looks maybe towards the other end of the track. Bo Maguire, though, is committed. He comes on to pit road in the number 50. Almost everybody else, I think, within the top 10 is going to stay on the racetrack. First other driver down is J. Randall Watkins. Check that. Who's that car back there? That's the Ed Williams Jr. car that had a little bit of damage. So kind of surprised by Bo Maguire's tactics here coming in from 5th.
Yeah, absolutely. He's a very lonely man right now as he drives down pit road. That is not a good feeling when you come down and you just hope that more people come with you. Track position is very beneficial, and he will be trying to come through the field. The 65 who did follow him did have damage from that wreck. He drove into one of the spinning cars, either the 85 or someone else, and he will be down pit road as we just saw to fix a lot of that damage that he acquired.
Let's take this opportunity maybe to step away for just a few moments' time and bring you back to some more racing here in a few moments. This is ETV Live, powered by the HD Radio Network for the RSR Asphalt Assault Series. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Race fans, it's time for those most famous words in motorsports. Travers, start your engines!
up at a corner number 4, and the checkered flag, he wins his first NASCAR iRacing.
Inside SimRacing.tv, the fastest show on the internet. Sim racing news and reviews since 2007, with new shows every week.
Welcome back to ETV Live, powered by the HD Radio Network. We are doubled up, getting ready to go back to green. You see Stefan Marinik there in the 24. Damage appears to be repaired on the number 24 car. He is the only driver right now that is currently scored as 1 lap behind the pace, so he should be in line for the free pass as John Abbott got it on this caution flag. John Abbott back on the lead lap, and as we mentioned, a little bit of damage still to that race car, as the 10 car will restart in position 21 as he is catching up to the rear of the field. Once again, your top 10. It's Matt Lacrosse leading CJ Levere, Josh Cheney, Bobby Terrell, Brian Harvey, top 5. Bobby Wetzel in 6th, Steve Almindo in 7th, Stephen Maddox in 8th, Keith Brooks Jr. in 9th, and Jay Randall Watkins completes your top 10. We have 21 drivers in the lead lap. Marinik is 1 lap down, Lonza 4 laps behind the pace, and I believe he is still on the racetrack. Barry Hines still on the racetrack, 8 laps back. Everybody else, Rhett McBride, Jimmy North, and Jimmy Jones, all retired from this event on the 32nd lap. We're getting ready to see green closing in on the 1/3 distance mark in this race at the Kentucky Speedway. The first racing Ford Mustang pace car is getting ready to head to the infield here, and Matt Lacrosse once again in command of this field, and he will put the foot down to the floor right here. Green flag will fly, and a little bit later than I anticipated, Harry, as it looks like the 11 of Cheney going to be on the inside as CJ Levere, and Cheney going to take second, and look at the run that the 11 has.
Yeah, and you know, CJ Levere on the last restart capitalized from 3rd position, and then he just realized why Bobby Terrell was a little bit off the pace, starting from position number 2. It is very hard to see when you're on the outside. The leader often catches you off guard, and Josh Cheney in that 11 car able to capitalize, and right now he's hanging very well with the leader, so we'll be able to see if he's able to challenge.
Yeah, we'll see if the 11 has anything here as he comes across the stripe, and he will be in position number 2. Started this race in position number 7, hung around the top 10 for most of the race, and now we find him in position number 2 along with the 4 of CJ Levere, about 8 lengths back in position number 3 right now. Brian Harvey and Steve Almindo complete your top 5 as we go down into corner number 3 with your leaders Matt Lacrosse and Josh Cheney. Lacrosse up in that second group, Cheney trying everything that he has in his power to catch your leaders. We're side by side for 4th. Brian Harvey under fire from the 81 is Steve Almindo.
Yeah, and as you can see with the points leader and a couple other cars getting damaged, there's a lot of there's a big spread right now between 3rd and 4th. There's some contact in the middle of the field. There's contact with the 16 and the 7, I believe. And they got it straightened out. But it's interesting right now with some of the attrition that we've seen. There are a couple of guys who are running in the back half of the field right now, trying to work their way through the pack and showing that they do have the speed to contend this evening. And with a few less cars on the lead lap that are up to speed, I think we have a good chance of seeing this go green for quite a while and seeing how they sort out.
Brian Harvey continues to fall through the field. He's lost one more position to Bobby Wetzel. Now he makes a crossover in the 66. Underneath car number 19, nothing doing there. 71 to Keith Brooks Jr. also working up with the 44. And Stephen Maddox in the number 12. This is just outside your top 5. Brian Harvey runs in 6 right now, so 6th, 7th, and a little ways on back as Wetzel will take that 6th place spot as the scoring loops the 12 of Maddox way up the racetrack. I don't know where he was going with the 77. Is going to try to find a spot underneath him as that's the battle for 10th between the 12 and 77. Down the back straightaway and working into corner number 3. Still status quo up in front. Closest battle on the racetrack, I believe, is this battle for about 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th or so, as it might be getting close up here between Terrell and Almindo, the 7 and 81, about to dance for position number 4.
Yeah, that 81, that Alpine Stars turquoise aquamarine looking car, right now holding strong in 4th, but Bobby Terrell does appear to be faster, and he's trying to get a run off of the corner, using a little bit of rear tire, which if they have a long run may not be too beneficial, but I do believe Bobby will capitalize on this battle and try to work his way back to the front runners, but he's losing a lot of valuable time as we see Matt Lacrosse and CJ LeVere and Josh Cheney in the middle there running in 2nd. They will be able to stretch the lead as Bobby gets held up here, and it will be hard for him to come back. And I'm kind of glad that I noted CJ LeVere earlier as being very good at this track, because he's proving me right in a way. He's doing very well. He started 8th, I believe, and he's worked his way up to 3rd, stayed out of trouble, and he is looking to contend for this win. As the 7 car actually gets by the 81, that then gets run into out of turn number 4, and the 81 takes the spot right back, so a little bit of contact for position number 4.
And we'll see how that sits now with the 7 back behind the number 81 of Steve Almindo. And it actually closed in the 19 through that exchange as well. So we have a 3-car battle for positions 4, 5, and 6 as we go down the back straightaway. Change of positions behind them. Crossover now with Brian Harvey. Underneath the 44, Glenn Campbell. Campbell trying to run and hide at position number 8 with the 44 and 66 machines. And Keith Brooks Jr. closes in on that one, as well as Maddox looks at the 71. For position number 9. So close little battles here, and these guys aren't wasting any time. And as we've seen in that little battle between the 7 and the 81, they're not really afraid to use the bumper either.
Yeah, the 7 probably wasn't too happy. He finally completed the pass, and then he got run into, and now he's trying everything he can to get that position back. And he will be clean about it, he will be smart about it, but he definitely wants to get by the 81 and run away from these guys as soon as possible.
42 laps being worked on the board right now out of the 110 in round number 24, the RSR Asphalt Assault Series presented by Inside Sim Racing and Derek Spear Design. 3-car length lead for Matt Lacrosse on Josh Cheney. Cheney about to be under fire from CJ LeVere on the 4. The 4 works up on the 11, and it's about a half car length or so as the 11 gives him a whole lot of room underneath. As CJ LeVere is going to go to position number 2 here by the looks of it as they go side by side down the tri-oval. And CJ LeVere will appear to go to position number 2 as Bobby Terrell is under fire from Bobby Wetzel. Side by side at position number 5 as Wetzel trying to use the big boy side of the racetrack and try to take position number 5 away from the 7.
Yeah, and you could tell pretty much the dichotomy between the battle for 2nd and the battle for a couple of seconds behind them. These guys are trying to get into position to chase the leaders down, and they're running out of patience and racing very, very hard. Bobby Wetzel with a great run to the outside of the 81 right now through the tri-oval, going to try to complete that pass on the high side in 1 and 2. And meanwhile, we saw when CJ LeVere was able to get by Josh Cheney for 2nd, Cheney lifted, got behind him, said, "Hey, here, you go have it. You seem fast right now. I'll see what you could do. See if I could chase you down with the leader." As the 7 actually looks 3 wide backs out of it before turn number 3.
So the 19 going to make 2 passes on the outside line, and it's going to be for positions number 5 and 4 as Almindo going to fight back on the inside line. The 7 on the inside as well, and Glenn Campbell says he goes to the outside thinking that he can gain a few spots on these guys as well. But the 19 car really making the outside line work here. The 81 of Almindo back to the inside. Question is, How long does it take that 19 on the outside line of Bobby Wetzel to burn his stuff up? 7th on 3 wide again as he pulls his foot out of it. But that 19 car has got to really be burning up his stuff on that outside line.
Yeah, it's a tough spot to be in, and Glenn Campbell wants to take advantage of everyone right now, but he doesn't quite want to go 3 wide, although he's looking right now. He's not there, and he will back out. But, you know, as they say, 3 times the charm, 3rd time's the charm. And the 7 car, if these two are still side-by-side entering turn 3 and he gets that run, he may look 3 wide again. As the 19 actually clears the 81, and now the battle is behind him with Glenn Campbell, the 81 of Almindo, and Bobby Terrell all under a blanket right there.
And Brian Harvey's looking at this battle as well in the 66, trying to gain a few spots as the 19 car will begin to run and hide from the rest of this pack, and the battle will be behind him as Glenn Campbell in the 44 has kind of wrestled his way out of it as well. It's now Steve Almindo, the 7 of Bobby Terrell, side by side as the 44 gains another car length or so, as the 7 is going to go to the outside and make the pass on the number 81. And now what does the 66 do? Brian Harvey, great run into corner number 3. He pulls the foot out of it, and the 12 and 71 nose to tail behind, and maybe almost a little contact between the 12 and the 71 as he thought about making it a little bit harder, as Wetzel's going to get passed up here in the front of this pack by the 44 car. Battles all over this little pack here for position number 4.
And it's nice to see the 71 there, that pink Superflow car made famous in Days of Thunder. He qualified somewhere around 15th. It actually was 15th, and a couple laps into the race, he found himself running 20th. 2 cautions later, he benefited from attrition, from track position, and he's showing everybody right now that, you know what, he was just playing it smart, he was taking it easy, and he's keeping up. He's under attack right now by the 12 car, who wants the 9th position, and he's giving plenty of room. But Keith Brooks in that 71, he stayed out, and he restarted, I believe, in the 9th position, and he has held on to that 9th position so far.
And another driver making his way to the front of the field after starting up front, Bo McGuire in the 50, going to insert himself into this battle for position number 10 as he looked underneath the number 12 of Stephen Maddox and could not make the move. And now Jay Randall Watkins to the inside of the number 50 as they go side by side up off corner number 4. 49 laps in the books this time by of the 110. So next time by, we'll have 60 laps remaining in this event. Matt Lacrosse continues to lead by about 3 car lengths, and it's been that way for a little while now. Josh Cheney about 2 lengths behind CJ LeVere, and then it's this battle for 4th on back that really seems to accordion here in these last few laps. I think the closest battle between this within the top 10 or so might be Harvey and Wetzel, as Wetzel, he went to the outside, passed a bunch of cars, and now they just passed him back on the inside line. So Bobby Wetzel may have used up his stuff trying to make those 2 big passes.
Yeah, Bobby might have been just trying to get all he could on those fresher tires and see if he could hold on, but maybe he might not be as good on older tires as some of these other guys are as they sorted out, as Glenn Campbell has really benefited from that battle with Terrell just behind him. But it's nice that you point out Bo McGuire. He actually restarted in 17th. That 50 car came from 17th, and he already is up to 11th. And I believe he's going to make quick work of the 12 and the 71 in front of him, who are side-by-side right now. But I think he's exhibiting patience. He's working his way methodically, and he will wait for them to get single file, I do believe. But he's done a good job. He's gained 6 spots so far as there's contact right in front of him. The 71 is shoved up the track, making quick work of the 71 as he gets passed by 2 cars in the process.
I don't think we called Doug Roth's name all night long, but now Doug Roth has passed the 71 of Keith Brooks Jr. So he is going to move to outside the top 10, and now Stephen Maddox will have to put up with Bo McGuire, Doug Roth, and then a few spots behind is that 71 car that we just saw that little contact made there. So we'll have to see if those cars get back together, and also in this pack as well, Jay Randall Watkins. This is your battle for 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13th right now as they come up corner number 2. And look at the 43 get that great run underneath the 50. And Bo McGuire is going to see the 43 car to the inside as they go side by side, 50 way up the racetrack. And he's going to lose 1, 2, 3. And Bo McGuire may be coming to pit road here in the 50. And indeed, he's going to come way down to pit road. So it doesn't like the way his car is handling with those tires. Maybe he's down on the pit road, and it might be a little bit more because he's just going to pull in here, and it looks like he's going to retire from the race. Something definitely wrong with Bo McGuire.
Yeah, you know, he made a nice climb through the field, and that is a little curious. Nothing appeared to be wrong with the car, but he right now is in the garage area, I do believe.
Yes, he's exited the server, so there might be something a little bit more to that than what we know. So we'll keep you abreast if we hear anything else in that number 50 car. But the battle for second heating up. Look at Josh Cheney on the back bumper of the 4 of CJ Lavera. That's your battle for position number 2 as the 11 was painting the back bumper of your second place car these last few laps. Cheney might have found something.
Cheney has looked very good, and we saw him be patient and let the 4 go, but a couple laps have passed, and CJ hasn't challenged the leader like maybe we all expected. And actually, the 4's got a great run right now, looking at Matt Lacrosse's back bumper. But all 3 of those cars are very quick. They seem to be running similar times. I quickly saw Marinak, who after getting his damage fixed, is only about 2.5 off the pace. So he's not bad, but right now he's all alone. There's nothing really to look at. But it's a nice battle for the lead right now, as maybe CJ made a mistake and he had to get his rhythm back in, because he's really challenging Matt Lacrosse for the lead right now, about halfway into the race.
Yeah, it looks like he might have pulled the trigger looking to the outside of the 21 of Matt Lacrosse, and we've seen this move before at a Bobby Wetzel. It's just a matter of how much do you push your gear right now, and how much do you make those tires upset or make those tires angry at you. The 4 to the outside, he is there on Matt Lacrosse. He closes in the 11 though as he goes way wide. The 11 now looking at the 4 for position number 2 as Matt Lacrosse can breathe a sigh of relief right now as he's got the 4 about 2 lengths behind.
Yeah, CJ drove it in there in turn number 1, and it looked like it was going to work, but those bumps in the middle of 1 and 2 upset his car, got him really tight as the 11 of Josh Cheney gets very loose, looking to cut underneath CJ out of turn number 4 and loses a lot of valuable ground. But CJ not able to complete the pass, went way up the track after bottoming out, and even though this tight battle for the lead is going on, they've actually extended their lead to over 4 seconds back to third, because they've been battling for third on through about 10th for pretty much the entire run.
'16 as well going at it. That's at Marvin Turnmeyer Jr. and it looks like the 666 of Augusto Gabaldoni, the 57, who's a bunch of laps down, contact made, and the 666 has to collect that race car, and looks like the 16 as well having a little bit of neck code issue as they go at it for about position number 17, as it's an exciting little battle back there. Got a couple of lap cars in the mix as well.
Yeah, Augusto, that's been a tight battle, and Augusto expected Marvin to be lower on the track as he entered turn number 3. So he tried to come down and run him tight, but that was a little bit too tight, but a very nice save by Augusto Gabaldoni in that 666 car. And very lucky that it did not bring out a caution, but I tell you, they are still running with each other on the track in 17th and 18th, and it'll be interesting to see if this escalates in any way.
And Douglas Wyatt there as well. He runs in position number 10 in the standings, so he's looking to gain 2 more points or 2 more positions as he sees them side by side in front of them. That's a battle for 17, 18, and 19 right now down the back straightaway. This time by 50 laps to go. CJ Lavere, your second place driver, right back up on your leader of Matt Lacrosse with 50 laps to go. So just past halfway, it's go time for these drivers up in front of the field. And as you mentioned, nearly 5 seconds, 4.5 seconds ahead of 4th place. And they're out front. They're looking to settle this thing amongst themselves.
Yeah, Josh Cheney not able to rebound from that lap that he lost a lot of momentum. These cars are very momentum-based. You make a little mistake, and it is extremely costly. CJ Lavere does appear to have the fastest car as of right now, but of course it could be deceiving. It's possibly draft. He's driving it into these corners. Matt Lacrosse is backing it up a little more than he is and getting a nice run on exit. And CJ's driving style might hurt the right front more, but I tell you, sometimes you do that if you're a little bit on the right rear, or maybe you're a little bit loose. By driving it in there and using more right front, you can fix your car. So it's any number of things leading to CJ driving it that hard, or he just wants to lead very, very badly right now, and he's got a very good shot at it.
We have to look at it. Matt Lacrosse has already locked up the bonus point for leading the most laps here this evening, so the only thing I could think, maybe CJ Lavere's pushing him a little bit harder to maybe use up his stuff because he can't get ahead and get the most laps led bonus point, which I'm sure with those guys third and fourth in the standings, it's in the back of their mind in case something happens to your point leaders. And right now, Marinak is still in position number 20, 1 lap down. And looking at the first driver that they would lap, it's still probably about a quarter to a third of a lap ahead. So this thing needs to stay green for a little while in order for Marinak to not get the free pass if a caution comes out. But that's the only thing I can think of. Possibly Matt Lacrosse, CJ Levere trying to get Matt Lacrosse to use his stuff up and possibly fall back a little bit, and then CJ Levere can get out in front. There's no extra point. I believe CJ's led a lap here this evening. If not, he might be trying to get out and lead 1 lap to get a bonus point. That's the only thing I can think of right now.
Yeah, when you're CJ, you definitely want to get the lead. If you're a little bit faster than the leader and you could stretch it any amount, you want to get in position and see how it feels. If CJ, he might have led during a pit stop exchange or something like that, and he hasn't felt the clean air, I don't believe. So he's trying very hard right now, but Lacrosse is doing a really good job. Every time I think CJ is going to make a great run at him, Lacrosse is running some very good lap times. The cars have fallen off quite a bit, about 1.5 seconds from qualifying, and Lacrosse has been running the occasional 3270s, while much of the field is running 80s and 90s. So the leader of the race very well might be the favorite to win because he's doing a great job.
Yeah, very solid all night long so far for Matt Lacrosse, and now it's 0.3 of a second back to CJ Levere, nearly a second back to Josh Cheney. Brian Harvey runs in 4th, Bobby Terrell in 5th. Bobby Wetzel under fire right now at the 19 at position number 6 with the 44. Glenn Campbell just behind him as Campbell closes in at a corner number 4. No place to make a move as they try to duke it out for that position just in front of them. It looks like Terrell is up on Brian Harvey, by about a car length or so between those two drivers, and now about a car length between Wetzel and Campbell. Completing your top 10 right now, Almindo, Doug Roth, and Stephen Maddox, and it looks like that battle that was around there has turned into a couple of 2-car battles as they try to decide a couple positions back there as Wetzel all the way up the racetrack, and the 1944 is going to be side by side with the 19 coming out of corner number 4, and it appears that the 44 may take the spot of the 19 of Bobby Wetzel. That's for position number 6.
And I do believe Glenn Campbell, if he's able to complete this pass, which it looks like he will as he clears him in the center of 1 and 2, will he be able to come up? Yes, he will. As the 19 takes a look low, goes for the crossover. Be interesting to see just how hard Glenn drives it in here. Wetzel drives it very deep into 3 and 4, makes it work, but we're looking at another crossover as Glenn Campbell cuts back underneath, coming to the start-finish line.
Watching the 81 of Almindo, and you see this battle in front of them, the 19 to the outside of the 44. Will the 19 do the same thing down the back straightaway? 44 clears him, I think, at the right time. The 19 going to get the run here. Will he have enough to get to the inside of the 44? No, the 44 slams the door, and the 19 will have to settle for position number 7. Now, does Almindo make a move in the number 81 as they come up at a corner number 4? They come across the line this time, and they are nose to tail for position 6, 7, and 8. 81 to the outside, the 19 to the inside. Could we see 3 wide there? The 44 is going to lose at least 1 position. 19 up the racetrack a little bit, and the 44 going to get this run off the corner, which should put him back in the position, and we'll see how far the 44 can run now. The 81 and 19 left to fend at position number that's 7 right now. Is the 19 going to come to pit road? Bobby Wetzel onto pit road in the number 19. So we're starting to see some of your leaders come down onto pit road as Matt Lacrosse leads CJ Levere and Josh Cheney, and we've seen the 16 come down onto pit road, and now you see the 19 of Bobby Wetzel to the attention of his crew.
Yeah, Bobby Wetzel right there was battling basically that whole run. He definitely appears to be short pitting here. I don't believe he's running low on gas, but he wants to take advantage of the newer tires, and he will get a couple of seconds right off the bat with those fresher tires. But it was an interesting battle because Glenn Campbell looked very fast behind him. And once he completed the pass, it became into just a bunch of crossovers. When we saw the 19 tuck behind the 44 again, the draft, such a huge effect, and it stayed a battle. But Glenn was running a pretty good line, and now that he's got some space, I think he gets a little bit loose out of turn 2 actually, should be able to put a little space on the cars behind him as the 81 is trying to keep up with him though. But one of the fastest cars on the track right now is actually Bobby Terrell. And the 7 car, he's getting held up right now by the car running in 4th. But he's one of the fastest cars on the long run right now, which is interesting because he took long runs in practice. It seems to be paying off, but with all those battles early in the run that he was in, he lost too much time, and he simply doesn't have enough time to catch up with the leaders unless we have the yellow or mistakes are made during pit stops or he short pits by a lot.
And looking at these drivers that are 1 lap down, as they come down pit road, they're falling at least 1 lap down. And Marinak right now has Keith Brooks Jr. scored in front of him and Frank Coons as well. But Coons on pit road, Brooks just coming off. So looks like right now Marinak still in that lucky dog position and looking to stay there if something happens that a caution flag does come out and he can get that free pass award. Maybe somebody messes up coming onto pit road and he ends up getting that award, as Augusto Gabaldoni is now on pit road, and he'll fall 1 lap down to your leaders as Matt Lacrosse, CJ Lavera, and Josh Cheney go into corner number 1. About a half second between your first and third place cars on lap number 75. So we are closing in at this time by across the stripe with 35 laps to go in round number 24 of the RSR Asphalt Assault Series, presented by Inside Sim Racing and Derek Spear Design. The 4-car pitches in and hard that time. Could the 4 of Lavere be coming onto pit road this time? Here come all your leaders. Down on the pit road, top 3. Gonna have to woe it down to pit speed, and it looks like they got it woed down in time. Now, what do you do here? Does anybody take any gambles in this pit stop?
You know, I want to say that they will all take 4. There's just a lot of laps to go. They probably have to fill it all the way up or come close to it. And I believe people with 4 tires will capitalize, although I have been wrong before. Some guys do a wonderful job taking 2 and holding on. The tires do average out. They plateau after probably like 10 or 15 laps, and it does appear that all 3 of those leaders are taking 4. They're all on the same strategy. CJ will come out in second. They will exit pit road in the same order that they entered. A little bit of space, though. I believe Matt Lacrosse had a great pit stop.
Fantastic pit stop for Matt Lacrosse, as he will come out and he'll be, I believe, passed here by the 44 and a bunch of other cars as well. And we'll see where that shakes him out in just a few moments' time. Last time Bobby was Bobby Terrell and Brian Harvey scored as your 2 leaders. It looks like Brian Harvey is going to come onto pit road. Bobby Terrell going to stay out on the racetrack and lead 1 more lap, complete lap number 77 on the racetrack. And there will be about 10 drivers or so on the lead lap. First driver 1 lap down now is Matt Lacrosse, CJ Lavera, and Josh Cheney. And this would be the last thing that the 24 car would want, would be a caution flag to come out, as we have contact between the 21 and the 43 as they get it saved. And I about mentioned a caution. We almost had one, Harry.
Yeah, you know, when you're on new tires and you're around a lot of cars that haven't pitted yet, it can be incredibly sketchy. And as Matt Lacrosse exited pit road there, as we are about to look at the replay, I believe the Lacrosse simply just was carrying more center speed and just got into the back, just kind of misjudged it a little bit. Maybe he was expecting the slower traffic to yield, which often they do, and often you expect it when you are the leader. There were a couple of slower cars in between Lacrosse and the second place man of CJ Lavera when they exited. And I thought CJ would have more of a struggle, but it appears that CJ narrowed the gap a little bit, although he's very far back right now as he tries to get by the 48.
Bobby Terrell, 2 right side tires in his pit stop. That's an interesting chain of events. 2 tires for Bobby Terrell on his pit stop. Glenn Campbell is scored as your leader with Doug Fleming running in second. Maddox in third in the 12, and then it's John Abbott in position number 4. And Doug Roth coming off pit road as well. So it looks like 4 drivers still on the racetrack that have not come down pit road yet, led up by Glenn Campbell. We'll see if the 44 does decide to come on to pit road this time by. No, he does not. Almost a little contact behind them. I believe that was Cheney and Frank Coons in the 48, as Coons will fall behind the 11 car.
It'll be very interesting to see how that works out for Bobby Terrell in the 7, because he was very good in the long run. Sometimes you get two tires and it loosens you up a lot with the split between very worn left sides and then the right sides that are brand new. But you saw it put him from probably 5.5, 6 seconds back to being about a second off the leader right now, which jumped him from, I believe, 5th place all the way up to 2nd. And it doesn't appear that he's too loose. The left sides will make it to the end of the race should we go green. And I'm liking the call because his car looks very stable.
Glenn Campbell onto pit road. He was your leader. He is going to surrender the lead to Doug Fleming, as Glenn Campbell going to come down to the attention of his crew this time. Going to leave Steve Maddox and John Abbott also on the racetrack as the three drivers that did not come down pit road. You have 44 into his box, and it looks like the right side tires will go up on the 44, and we expect that to be a 4-tire stop, but then again we expected the 7 to be a 4-tire stop as well. 4 tires, though, definitely for the 44, as Doug Fleming comes by and leads his second lap of this race.
Yeah, a couple of cars staying out, just hoping for a caution. Marinak, as these green flag pit stops have been underway, he's gone all the way up to the 13th position. I'm not 100% on whether he has pitted yet or not. I do believe he has. But his car, ever since the damage has been fixed, has been running extremely competitive times. And should he catch a caution and be on the lead lap, I think Marinak has a chance at grabbing a top 7 or 8 finish even after that wreck.
I kept a half eye on Doug Fleming on that lap, and Frank Coons behind him with brand new tires nearly ran him over and nearly turned him in the middle of the corner. But it looks like Frank Coons has backed off a little bit, since the 28 car in front of him is your leader. So a little close call for your leader on this exchange, Doug Fleming, as Fleming will stay out again and will lead one more lap. Steve Maddox behind him runs in second, about 15 lengths behind or so. And then John Abbott is scored in position number 3, and he remains out in the racetrack, as does Douglas Wyatt. And then it's Matt Lacrosse, your former leader, in position number 5 right now. But as you mentioned, it's about a second and change between himself and Bobby Terrell, and then CJ LeVere is behind the Terrell machine by about 0.8 of a second. So there's a little bit of a difference there, but definitely move Bobby Terrell up a little bit closer to the top of the board.
Yeah, and even with those 2 tires, Bobby Terrell is actually pulling away just a little bit on CJ. Lap traffic might be a factor. And I believe Terrell, since he pitted more recently than Matt Lacrosse, has started to chase him down a little bit. But what'll be interesting is to see the 2 tires has worked out on the short run. How good will it be on old tires? Will it give him the rotation that it needs? Will it burn the right front more? Or, excuse me, will it burn the right rear more because of it being a little bit looser? Typically, the 2 tires does give the car less grip, and it'll give it less rear grip. But right now, it's working out very, very well, as we've got about 25 laps to go.
And Doug Fleming has decided he's had enough. He is down on pit road in the 28. Your 12 and your 10 stay out on the racetrack. And I believe the 420 is also out there on the racetrack as well, of Douglas Wyatt. But if he stays out in the racetrack for 3 or 4 more laps, he's probably going to be in position number 4 as Matt Lacrosse will pass him. Your other leader, Stephen Maddox, is now going to slow down and come onto pit road. So Maddox is going to surrender the lead after leading 1 lap, and John Abbott will go back to the top of the scoring pylon here, and that will put the 10 car back to the top of the board.
Yeah, a lot of cars currently getting their laps back with the leaders who stayed out as long as they could. John Abbott currently out front, as you said, and right now I believe 13 or 14 cars are showing on the lead lap, and they're eagerly awaiting the top 2 cars to come in so that they can get some more back on the lead lap. Marinak right now showing as the first car lap down, and he should be back on the lead lap by the time pit stops fully circulate.
That should be the case, because John Abbott is just in front of Marinak by about a half straightaway or so. And then your next driver that's in the cycle would be Douglas Wyatt, as Wyatt is now going to come onto pit road about a half track behind John Abbott. And once John Abbott now comes down into pit road, that will cycle through and give the lead back to Matt Lacrosse. So we're waiting for the 10 car to come onto pit road here. He has 21 laps to go if he stays out on the racetrack this time by, and he will. So 21 laps remaining for John Abbott in the number 10 as he stays out in the racetrack and has a 15-second lead or so on Matt Lacrosse in the 21. And then Bobby Terrell is only 3/10 behind Matt Lacrosse now. And Bobby Terrell going to look underneath Matt Lacrosse. This will be your battle for the lead as soon as the 10 car comes down into pit road. The 7 is looking to the inside, and the 21 slams the door on the 7.
Yeah, Bobby Terrell just drove right up to who will be the leader when pit stops cycle out. And 2 tires might just be the call. Before pit stops, I certainly did not think it would be the best call to make if you were in the top 3, because I thought they'd be far enough ahead of anyone who would. But Bobby Terrell challenging right now, all the way on the bottom of 3 and 4. Looks to be the faster car. His right sides are fresher than the 21 car's right sides, but his left sides are older. But right now, it is working out. And as the tires start to plateau and they start to run the times that they were at the ends of the last run, it'll be interesting to see if the 7 can keep up.
Needs a little bit of track position, though, I think, as you mentioned, so it might be a little bit of a case of sense of urgency or so to get past this number 21 and then maybe play a little bit of defense as opposed to playing a little bit of offense in order to get by him as he's looking to the big side of the racetrack right now. They've 21 still holding him off. John Abbott last time by scored as your leader. He should be on pit road. Right now, though, that'll hand the lead over to Matt Lacrosse the next time by the stripe. So your battle for the lead, 21 and a 7 as we work lap number 92 of 110 here at the Kentucky Speedway. Should have a run from the 7 here off corner number 2. Where does he put it? Does he have enough to get to the inside on corner number 3? He is there looking on the 21. The 21 going to go to the outside of the racetrack, and the 7 going to have the inside line. This is going to be close coming off of corner number 4 as the 21 and Matt Lacrosse will take the lead here on lap 92.
Yeah, you saw Bobby get a little bit loose out of turn number 4 as he binded the car, just trying to hook it on the bottom and get underneath Matt. He knows if he wants to take the lead, it's got to be soon while he's got a little bit of a right side tire advantage. And if he's able to get the lead by the time the cars fall to about what they're going to run the rest of the race, he should be able to hold on. Theoretically, that's at least what he wants to happen, as he gets back underneath the 21 car. This time it was earlier on in the straightaway, and Matt Lacrosse gave him all the room in the world. They're side by side for the lead with just about 17 laps to go. You know, we counted Bobby Terrell almost out, at least I did. With 30 laps ago, he was 5 seconds back, and he was mired in traffic, racing everybody really hard. But these tires are giving him a shot at this win, and as Matt Lacrosse prevails for now, but Bobby is not going away anytime soon.
Terrell looking to take away the lead and continues to get that great run, just can't seem to put it anywhere once he gets to the leader and once he gets to Matt Lacrosse. Now looking to the outside line of Matt Lacrosse and possibly crossover here. No, not going to happen. The 7 continues to look to the outside, and he's going to lose about a car length than what he had before on that number 21. Down the back straightaway they're going to go here on lap number 95 of 110. This time by, they'll have 15 laps remaining in round number 24 of 36 as Lacrosse tries to play defense on Bobby Terrell. And if they continue to do this, CJ Lefebvre is going to close in. Does he have enough time to run down a second or so in 15 laps?
Yeah, CJ has been closing, and his last lap was actually a great one. CJ and Josh Chaney right behind him are loving the lead battle. They're wanting them to race it out, give them, they lost a lot of time on those green flag pit stops, and the more those two leaders race, the better shot that they have to join that lead. And if they do, we will have 4 very competitive cars racing for that lead as Terrell and Lacrosse continue to go side by side as Lacrosse clears Terrell once again. But this could turn into one heck of a finish.
That was the closest that Bobby Terrell was. He got to the door of the number 21 in the middle of the corner, but could not hold it to take the lead off the corner. It was Matt Lacrosse that had the run to do so, but that's the closest that he's been so far. That number 7 to Bobby Terrell as he takes a run at the number 21 of Matt Lacrosse here, and it's not going to happen at a corner number 4. They will come up on Keith Brooks Jr. in a few laps as well to put him 1 lap down as 97 is completed. So we've got 13 laps to go here at Kentucky as the 7 continues to work on that number 21, and looks like CJ Lefebvre turned about the same lap time the last time by as your leader. Actually, he was about a quarter of a tenth faster that last time by. He's going to need a little more in order to get up to these top two.
Yeah, and with the number of laps that we have on these tires right now, Matt Lacrosse in the lead is pretty much coming to terms with the fact that Bobby Terrell is not going anywhere. His car will stay this fast for the rest of the race with only 12 laps to go as they cross the stripe right here. So they're going to have to race it out all the way to the end. Lacrosse, who has led the vast majority of the laps, very close to all of them, aside from when pit stops were cycling around. So this is a lead that is going to occur. This lead battle for the rest of the race should be very interesting, as Terrell's still right on the back bumper of that white, green, and black 21 car.
We'll see if the 7 has enough here in these remaining 11 laps of this race. The 7 gets a great run off corner number 4, but just nowhere to put it. You see the 21 of Lacrosse go to the inside and just can't really do anything with the number 21, as Terrell will try to take away the advantage here down the back straightaway. Gets a great run off corner number 2, but does he have enough to get to the inside? Looks like he's going to make the move here, but does he have what it takes to take the lead away? The 21 giving him a lot of room to make that move work, but the 7 can't get it dialed in on the inside line, and he'll come up off of corner number 4, and they'll see 10 laps to go this time by.
Yeah, Matt Lacrosse was higher on the track, a little bit more banking up there. Bobby Terrell was all the way on the apron. It's a little bit flatter, just can't hold quite as much. It's a little bit looser. And Lacrosse right now doing a good job of holding on, but you know he wants these last 10 laps to wind down as quick as possible while we enjoy this great lead battle. CJ Levert might not have enough time to chase them down. The times have kind of stabilized a little bit, and it looks like it's going to be a 2-car race, but Bobby all over Matt Lacrosse, coming back from multiple seconds back before that cycle of green flag pit stops, and he is trying everything he can to take the lead while the person he's trying to chase down in points is mired back in 19th after he made his green flag pit stop.
I was about to mention that right now. Bobby Terrell is standing to gain another 16 to 17 points or so. Terrell to the inside of the 21 of Matt Lacrosse, and he gets the same problem every time he makes the move in corner number 3. He gets to about the door and can't make the move, and then the 21 comes off of 4 with the lead and slams the door. 102 completed, 8 laps to go in this event, and as you mentioned, Bobby Terrell running in second place right now. He's led a lap this evening. Stefan Marinak, I don't think, has led a lap this evening, running in 19th place right now, and he is standing to gain at least half the points advantage that he has. So we saw this 60-plus point advantage earlier in the season. It's about to be a 16 or 14-point advantage if it stays the way it does now. This time by 7 laps to go for Matt Lacrosse.
And Bobby Terrell, as he keeps going to the apron trying to get that center speed, one thing he might have to stay in the slightly banked second groove to be able to pull this pass off. The apron is fast, as he has shown. He gets a run down the backstretch again and looks slow. I think to complete this pass, he's going to have to run Matt a little bit high unless he's able to use the apron to clear him in the center of the corner. As you can see right here on exit, he just can't get the drive off as the 21 starts pulling him a little bit, but that might have been his best turn 4 exit while below Matt Cross yet, as he stays with him and will be below him entering turn 1.
Great run into the corner. Matt Lacrosse gets the run in the middle. 7 car, can he get anything off the corner? Because turn 3 is the best place for this 7 car. Can he get a run into 3 as he's to the inside of the 21 of Matt Lacrosse? Does he have enough here? 21 drives it in hard, and it's going to stick in the corners number 3 and 4. They battle side by side as well behind them for position number 3 as Josh Cheney is going to pick up position number 3 from CJ Levert, and that may have kiboshed any sort of run to the front of the field that the 11 and 4 can have. It's about a battle between themselves right now for position number 3 as they work down the back straightaway with the 4 car all over the back bumper of the 11 as they will run into corner number 3, battling for position number 3 this time by. There's going to be 4 laps to go for Matt Lacrosse in the number 21.
And with the 4 laps remaining, the next flag will end the race. So Bobby is trying to get to the lead as quick as possible. Should there be a caution, the race will be over. There will not be a green-white checker, and Bobby wants to get there now. Lacrosse has done a pretty good job of holding on to that lead. The 7 car slightly newer right sides. He's got Matt's draft, but Matt's held on. simply the dominator of this race, but being challenged in these closing laps. Can Bobby get another run? I do believe next lap he will be able to try again.
Yeah, he's going to need to do it, and he's going to need to do it quickly here if he wants a shot at this lead. 3 laps to go right here for the 21 and the 7. The 11 and 4 continue to go side by side, or nose to tail, I should say, behind them as the 4 is looking to the underside of the 11 of Josh Chaney at position number 3 as LeVere tries to bring home a podium finish for car number 4. The 7 gets the run down the back straightaway like we've seen the last 10 laps or so, but once he gets to turn 3, it seems like that run just dies off. The 21 seems to be just that little bit better in the corners than the number 7 is, but there goes the 21 way up the racetrack. The 7 is going to be to the inside here. Contact made, and they save it on the front straightaway. Terrell to the lead. 21 loses all kinds of time. There goes the 11. There goes the 4, and the 4 is going to go underneath the 11 of Josh Chaney. What a chain of events. The 7 to the lead, the 4 to second, and they're going to be side by side for third.
Wow, Matt Lacrosse certainly is not happy right now. I was about to say that Matt is going to have to overdrive for the 7 car to get into the number 1 position, and he did overdrive. Exiting turn number 4, he slid up, he was tight, the 7 was there, and as the 7 tried to side draft him to capitalize on that run and get the position entering turn number 1, they accidentally made contact. I'm pretty sure that was just a combination of the guy trying to get the lead to side draft to get everything he could, but they came a little bit too close. Contact was made, and Matt Lacrosse will not win this race. The white flag has been out.
And they are going to come to the checkers this time. CJ LeVere is closing in, but it's not going to be enough. And Bobby Terrell going to make a huge gain in the championship. Checkered flag for Bobby Terrell as he will win at Kentucky. CJ LeVere will come home in position number 2. Matt Lacrosse will rebound for 3rd with Josh Chaney and Brian Harvey completing your top 5. And Stefan Marinek will come across the stripe, and Marinek will finish in 18th place, and he can kiss over half his point lead goodbye this evening as Bobby Terrell will make a huge gain on this.
Bobby really capitalized right there. With Stefan's troubles, Bobby capitalized in every way. The 2-tire strategy was the way to go, possibly the only car to even try it, but he takes the win. And that battle for the win was incredible for at least 20 laps in a row, leading to the contact. Simply the 7 wanted to run Matt higher on the track, and Matt would not have any of it. They met in the middle, and the 7 ends up with the win after both cars have very nice saves to avoid bringing out a caution. As you can see in the tri-oval, the 7 car just was not on the yellow line. He was about a groove above it, and Matt wanted to run him down the track. It's hard to really blame one or the other. That is very hard racing for the win. Obviously, Bobby came on the good end of it. Matt Lacrosse certainly is not happy at all, but Bobby Terrell will bring home the checkered flag in this one at Kentucky Speedway.
And let's talk to him right now. Bobby Terrell, your winner, and let's talk about that pass with the number 21. I know you tried to set it up for a few laps. We'll see if we can get Bobby to talk in TeamSpeak as opposed to the race server. Bobby, you tried to set up... There you go. Talk about that pass there for the win.
Yeah, like I said, I'd been following Matt several laps and just trying to get a run on him. I just kept working him, and just I knew if I could get beside him and keep beside him for a while that we could just fight, to the end, and hopefully we could get it. We had a little contact there at the end, which I didn't like, but that's part of racing. It was fun. It was fun, man. I was on the wheel, I'm telling you.
And let's talk about this win. Not only is it big to close in the points gap, but it's your 8th win of the season in 24 races. What's that, a third of the races so far for this 17?
I'm not sure. I mean, it started off kind of rough. I mean, I got in a lot of wrecks and was way behind, and just like I said, I'm not even worried about the points. I'm just going out and trying to win. I really didn't understand Stefan going 3 wide there right at first, but that worked to my favor. But I don't know if he thought I did it, but I didn't have anything to do with it. I was trying to stay as low as possible.
Now, looking at this point situation, we've got a third of the season left to go here. We've got about 12 races or so left to go in the end of this season. It was 60 points or something earlier in the season. It's now going to be down to about a dozen or so, give or take. How big are you thinking points going into these final races?
Well, I mean, you have to think it a little bit now that the points gap has gotten so low, but there's a lot of racing left. I mean, something could happen to me just like it happened to Stefan tonight. So, I'm just going to go out and try to win or place top 5 if I don't have the car to win. I really thought I had the car to win tonight, especially on the long run, and that's I was just biding my time.
And let's talk about that call on pit road as well. 2 tires, how big was that?
Yeah, I wasn't sure about it. I knew if I filled it very full that I would be in trouble as far as the tank goes. I really cut it close on fuel. I wish I had put a few more gallons in it actually, but it was starting to get really tight at the end. But I was really driving hard, so like I said, it was just a hard-fought victory for sure.
I know you got a lot of teammates and a couple of sponsors on the side of this race car. Who makes it happen for you?
Well, Muscle Milk, of course. You guys up in the booth for doing such a fantastic job. I watched the replays after it's over with, and I really enjoy them. Inside Sim Racing, ETV, Hippie's Paint Shop, Derek Spear Designs. I'm sure I'm forgetting somebody, but like I said, just it was a good win.
There's Bobby Terrell, driver of the number 7, and as we go through this post-race show, I know Laura's going to show us a little bit of Stefan Marinek's night, which put him back to, at the end of the race, it looks like 17th place at the end of it. So a big gain for Bobby Terrell as we move into Bristol next week. Harrison Weidlitz has caught up with your second-place finisher, CJ LeVere.
Yeah, I'm here with CJ LeVere, who used that Pegasus power to propel himself up to a second-place finish. He came from, I believe, the 8th place qualifying position and drove up to the lead battle. And CJ, I knew Kentucky was a good track for you going back to the Truck Series. I remember you had a great 2nd or 3rd place finish there in another series in the RSR League. And how do you feel overall about your race?
We were a little off today. We missed the pit stop and put us behind there. Well, we didn't miss the pit stop. We were a little slow getting in and out of pit road. We were a little off our game. For the most part, though, it turned out okay. Some misfortunes put us in the second. We got a good finish out of it.
Yeah, looking at the strategies of the pit stops, we honestly thought that most people would go for the 4 tires. But when Bobby Terrell made 2 tires work out and they really didn't fall off, did you see 2 tires as an option for you? Did you think possibly it would get a little bit too loose or anything like that?
As you can see on the back of my car, Fearless Racing Team, all the eyes, we have a pretty big team, and we decided to go with 4. We all wish we would have went with 2 because it caught Bobby up to us, and that was the icebreaker right there. If we would have took 2, we would have still had our 4-second lead.
Yeah, absolutely. And looking at the points picture, obviously Stefan Marinek had troubles. Early on got caught in a wreck when they were 3 wide, and a lot of points made up there. Bobby obviously wins the race and pulls away just a little bit, a couple of points on you. But you were able to get by Matt Lacrosse when they made contact late in the race, and was able to extend that lead back to 4th. So going down into the final 11 or so races left in the schedule, how do you weigh your chances?
You never know, bad luck can come and go, and good luck comes too, and I hate to see that. Stefan's my teammate, actually, so you never know. A lot of things can happen. A lot of the 11 races got some tracks, Bristol next week. That's, you never know how that can go.
Yeah, absolutely. And with Fearless Racing and all that, and who makes it happen for you? Who do you want to thank?
I got to thank all my teammates for Fearless Racing, my spotter, Ben Burnett. Got to thank Hippie's Paint Shop for all these nice paint jobs they give us. And just I got to say good shout to the Fearless Racing team. We finished 2nd through 6th. That's a pretty good deal there.
All right, thanks for your time, CJ. And I believe Tim Terry has caught up with the 3rd place finisher, truly the dominator of the race until very late in the going when he lost the lead. 3rd place finisher Matt Lacrosse.
Yeah, Matt Lacrosse comes home with third, and I'm sure it's not a position that he thought that he was going to be in throughout a majority of these 110 laps this evening. Matt, talk about the eventual pass for the win and you ending up in position number 3.
Yeah, well, it's unfortunate. I was out front most of the whole race, and I saw Bobby coming. And after that last pit stop, I took 4 tires. Like CJ said, we decided just as a team just to take 4. I thought it would be safer. And all of a sudden, here comes Bobby. It's like, man, did he take 2? And how fast is he going? It must have been working pretty good. Must have loosened him up a little bit because it got really tight on the long run once you run out of fuel. So. Yeah, I just was trying to not give him much room, trying to not let him get beside me at all, because I knew if he got beside me, he had a chance. I was just trying to hold my ground on the outside, and unfortunately we bumped. I didn't mean to do that. I came down on him a little bit, trying to pinch him, and well, we both saved it, and he ended up winning. I'll take a third. That's pretty good.
And you talk about this race, absolutely dominating for this number 21 team. Sat on the pole, was fast throughout the race, and led a majority of the laps, 90 of the 110 laps. You have to be, looking back on it, albeit you didn't get the win, you really have to be impressed with how the night went.
Oh yeah, I like Kentucky. Kentucky is one of my favorite tracks, and I just took it nice and easy there at the beginning. I wasn't trying to burn the right front up too much, and I think it was me, CJ, and Josh had a good 4-second lead on everybody. I thought, well, there's no way that we're not going to finish at least 1, 2, 3, and I was happy with the top 5. I mean, that's just the way it goes. That's racing, and congrats to Bobby and CJ.
We're going to head to Bristol coming up next week. What do you think your chances are at the Thunder Valley?
If it's a 10-lap race, I think I got a good shot. But after 10 laps, man, I just can't drive that place. I burn my tires up way too quick trying to go too fast, and the slower I go, try to save my tires. Everyone blows by me. I don't get it. So if they make it a 10-lap race, I think I'll have a pretty good chance.
Now, I know you got some sponsors on the car, and you mentioned those teammates. Let us hear who makes it happen each week and who puts all the laps in to get you prepared for the Thursday night series.
I'd like to thank Fearless Racing, everyone on Fearless Racing, Douglas Wyatt, and Hippie's Paint Shop, and Quick Car Racing Products. Derek Spear Designs, Inside Sim Racing. You guys up in the booth do a great job. Thank RSR for the league, and yeah, that's about it. Wish we could have got the win, but oh well, third's good.
And there's Matt Lacrosse coming home in position number 3. Final thoughts, Harrison Widelid. Say an exciting race, especially an exciting finish at the end of this.
Yeah, absolutely. And we brought up the question before the race began. It was the points lead too much, and just 1 or 2 bad races, and it could swing in a hurry. And Bobby Terrell took full advantage of that. Was able to close the lead at least halfway to the points leader right now, and a lot of good racing. A couple of early cautions, mostly from 3-wide accidents. And once we got underway, it was a great green flag show, green flag pit stops. Tire strategy was a huge factor. We didn't think it would work. It certainly worked, and Bobby got the win, and I thought it was a great show.
Steve Bonesteel was here covering the race as well. Steve, what did you think of this race here in Kentucky?
Well, I tell you what, early on I was discouraged with all the cautions, and I thought it'd be a wreck fest, but I was certainly proved wrong. The battle at the end, the last 20 laps, I was on the edge of my seat watching him dive low, go up high, and he couldn't make the pass, but he finally did, and they made contact, and that was that. It was just a fun race to watch all the way around, and check out the story on ETV Live's website.
And that's going to do it for us here this evening on ETV Live, powered by the HD Radio Network. Want to thank RealSimRacing.com, Derek Spear Designs, and Inside Sim Racing for helping us put on all the action this evening. So for Harrison Widelid, Steve Bonesteel, Laura Lawson, and JD Webb, my name is Tim Terry, saying we'll see you next week when we say let's go racing for the RSR Asphalt Assault Series. Keep the hammer down, and we'll see you at the track.